and the spirit of Ultimate Warrior will run forever!
Welcome everyone, Kyle here, and it is Saturday, and you know what that means. It's time for all the toy news, action figure news of the week that interested me, that hopefully interests you. In a busy toy news this week, we got a lot of wrestling and a little bit of other bits and pieces, and we'll get into all of that here very, very soon. But first, got to thank the sponsor of the toy news this week. It is jaystoysandgames.com. Use discount code Kyle, save yourself 15% on all in-stock items. Got to get a deal out there. I say it all the time, but I definitely do over there at Jay's. I always head down, use my 15%, and get all kinds of stuff. And you're going to see a ton of stuff tomorrow in weekly purchases, so be on the lookout for that. Want to promote, of course, the Patreon this month, the month of October. Sting is the traditional giveaway, but there's more. If you want the Ben Cooper Kid Nosferatu, the Ultimate Gremlin, or Frankenberry, all you got to do is sign up to be a free or paid member. One person will win those, and I will draw it sometime the first week of November over on my Patreon. So it is free to be a Patreon member if you want to. Check it out. Link in the description down below. Or you can get in the base plan at $2 a month. Whatever you want to do, choose your own Patreon adventure. Appreciate all the support over there. Appreciate all the support on the podcast, The Kyle Peterson Show, each and every Tuesday where podcasts are found, video cast on YouTube. Had another episode this week, episode 30. I can't believe we're already up to 30 episodes. Next week, episode 31, live now for Patreon members, or should be shortly for Patreon members, depending when you're watching this. It is our special Halloween episode. We got costumes, we got stories, we got all kinds of stuff. You can hear all about the elementary school parades that I used to have to do where all the old people were touching you. You guys have been there if you're of a certain age. But check out the Kyle Peterson Show podcast each and every single Tuesday wherever podcasts are found, video cast on YouTube and on Patreon right now. And speaking of Patreon, I won Buffalo Wild Wings for a year. Have I mentioned this, Todd McFarlane, Mark Summers? I think I have a time or two, but I got a new video series that's going to be a Patreon exclusive. It's my wife, Angie, and I. We're going to go through every single sauce and dry rub. Todd's personal favorite. You love a good dry rub. I love a wet rub myself, but he likes a dry rub. Available at Buffalo Wild Wings. We're going to try every single flavor. They're free. Why wouldn't I? Got to get a deal. So we're going to go through it all. We're going to rank them all. Stay tuned for that Buffalo Wild Wings series, video series. First episode up already. Check it out if you have not. So there's a little bit of housekeeping this week, a lot going on. I should mention on the podcast this week, I did break down. A lot of people were saying, what's your thoughts on this? And I gave you my thoughts. There was a YouTube video guy, a collector, Instagram, whatever you want to call it. Influencer, good one, Todd McFarlane. He's an influencer, of course. He influences a lot of people, and I bet he's influencing a few people right now. But Gizmo, something or another, was a collector. He was doing figure swaps, stealing from stores, all kinds of stuff. I did break down and gave my thoughts on that one. So check out the podcast this week if you want a little action figure horror story. Perfect for the Halloween season. But how about now we dive into some action figure talk? But before that, I should mention, gosh, once again, I just keep getting distracted. Todd McFarlane, that's why I keep you around. You throw me in on some stuff. I forgot, if you're watching this Saturday, tomorrow being Sunday, not only weekly purchases, I will be at the Kane County Toy Show outside of Chicago. Check it out. Say hi if you see me running around. We'll see what I find. You never know. You never know. But now let's get down to the toy news. How about? And we're going to start with Mattel. We're going to go wrestling. Shipping from Ringside Collectibles right now. Code Kyle saves 10%. You can get the brand new Jacob Fatu Ultimate Edition and ring. That is new in stock. Pick that one up. I believe mine's coming sometime later this week. We'll dive into it as we usually do with these rings and ultimates. Also, the latest Defining Moment set shipping out now. Pre-order, back order on some of those ones there, but I've been starting to unbox those on the channel. Check out the reviews if you missed those. Mattel LJN's just around the corner. Apparently, some people have got shipping notifications. I saw one post in one of the Facebook groups this week where they actually found them on store shelves. I believe Halloween, October 31st, are supposed to be in stores. So I fully expect maybe the pre-orders to ship a little bit earlier. Very interested to see how these go. We're going to put it through all the paces here. Me being an LJN kid, those were my first wrestling figures. I'm excited for this line, but also a little don't know what the word is. I wouldn't say concerned, but a little standoffish maybe. We'll see. Got to get them in hand. Got to see how these go, and we'll talk about it. We'll break it down. We'll go through them on the channel. So look forward to those. Maybe by next week's weekly purchases, we may have those in hand. We'll see what happens there, but you might find them in the stores this week if you're looking around. So it could be an interesting one. We also saw this week Amazon Fanatics showing some glamour shot in-package images of some new upcoming elites. Have to imagine we might even have these in hand before the end of the year. We'll see what happens. Obviously, that's only going to be via our friends over there at Ringside. But we saw Roman Reigns, no stranger to any line ever. Nikki Bella, I guess her return figure, we'll call this one. Great Khali, we got the Build-A-Figure recently. Now we get a straight-up Great Khali. Apparently, it's going to be improved. We'll do comparisons on the video for that one. And then the one a lot of people are waiting for, Axe and Smash, Demolition. Cannot wait to dive into those figures. So Elite 123, possibly right around the corner, maybe towards the end of the year. That's where my money will go with that one. But now we're going to dive into some other stuff. Nothing out of AEW this week. We talked about that Tony Storm last week. That should be here any day. Besides that, nothing else really going on. But we did hear some stuff out of KWK this week, and I am extremely excited about this one. We talked about it a few weeks ago. Maybe not. It was teased a few weeks ago, maybe a month ago, give or take. But here we are. We got the official reveal this week. The Fully Posable podcast officially got it, but I got the pictures to reveal. How about that? It is my boy. It is Dory Funk Jr. coming to the KWK Retro line. One of the biggest talents of all time to have just no figures, basically. Power Town, what are we doing here? We'll get to them. But very excited for KWK Retro Dory Funk. Multiple versions as usual. But accessories with this one, a title belt, a hat. I'm here for that. Now, Dory Funk, a little bit plain Jane. I think we'd all admit on that. But a guy that we needed figures from. And now it's wild to think we have a Dory Funk Jr. retro style figure, but no Terry Funk. That's the world we live in right now. I'm wondering if Mattel will fix that next year. But very excited for this. We'll go up for pre-order in November, shipping early next year. Cannot wait to get Dory Funk Jr. in hand. So very excited about that one. And you should be too. Everybody needs a little funk in their life, even if it's Dory Funk. So shout out to KWK on that. Zombie Sailor Toys this week showing off the Pinnacle Jeff Jarrett. Oh, a lot of people excited about this line, myself included. A lot of people want to know what's going on. He took our money for the pre-orders. I want to say it was March, April of this year. However, it still says shipping at the end of the year, and it looks like it may be because he showed off in-package samples of this one. Got to say, it looks really, really good. Reminds me a little bit Super 7-like with extra details, body style and stuff. So we'll see. Once again, I pre-ordered that whole set. I can't wait to dive into that one. We'll see what all the fuss is about, but Double J, Jeff Jarrett, looking pretty good in the Pinnacle collection. And then Zombie Sailor, a little controversial this week. A lot of people on Facebook groups saying it was a little bit overhyped, they felt, but he did release the latest retro wave in stock, ready to ship. Now, say what you want about the character selection on this one. I really give him credit for having an in-stock drop. I think we're all over all these long, drawn-out pre-orders. It was nice to just get rolling with this one. Now, these were all figures we've seen many times over the last year plus at this point, but it was Hakushi, an all-timer. Mr. Hughes with Earn. They've been talking about that one for like 2 years, it seems like. Todd Pettengill, a repaint there. A little bit iffy for a lot of collectors. And then Ahmed Johnson. And we got more Ahmed, if you can believe that. What year is it? 1996? We got more Ahmed Johnson to talk about in a little bit, but those are shipping right now. My delivery estimate, I think, is Monday, so I will have those in hand sooner than later. I thought there might be another character in there. I thought maybe Henry Godwin or Bob Holly, Spark Plug, we would have saw. Apparently saving those for down the line. Also waiting on that Roadkill figure. I still need to pick that one up. There's been rumors that the Danhausen, Summerhausen one is going to go up for in-stock shipping on Halloween. Rumors going around on that, so I would say stay tuned to things like that as well. We also saw My Fandom. We've talked about them with their Crowbar figure, Danny Maff figures. They announced 2 more, Vic Delicious and Hale Collins. And I have never heard of those people ever in my life. I'm a pretty deep in the wool wrestling fan, but they are indie stars of the East Coast. And me living in the Midwest, no, they just don't resonate with me. So this is a pass for me. Figures look good for what they are. I just don't know how well this line is going to sell. I think it was something like 250 or 300 limited edition. Obviously, the East Coast got a lot more population than the Midwest. So hopefully they sell them all up there because I don't know how many people are like me that never heard of these characters. And as much as I'd like to support, I'm not going to buy 2 unknown characters I just have no idea about, never heard about. So My Fandom doing some interesting things. we'll see where they go in the future as well. One place we know we're going to the future, and I'm not really a part of this one here, but it is our friends over there at Figure Collections. Use code Kyle, save 10% at figurecollections.com. But it looks like they're going to be making ICP figures. Now, my guess is maybe bone crunchers and retros. Now, you got to think, there's meat on the wrestling bone for ICP. Now, I am not an ICP guy at all. I'd probably buy a Mattel Elites of them if they came out, but they don't do a lot for me. Their music doesn't do a lot for me. I remember in high school, everybody was turning into a juggalo overnight, it seemed like. And I remember Mark Summers, I told you about this once upon a time, one of our road trips up there. We talked about it. I said, oh, everybody likes to be a clown now, so I was going to dress as a clown too. And I dressed as one of the greatest clowns of all time, Bozo the Clown. No, Tom McFarlane, I did not dress as Cookie. I dressed as Bozo. And everybody's like, you're not a juggalo. I said, oh, no, I'm a Bozo. That's what I am. And it confused a lot of people, and it scarred me forever, and been out of the clown game ever since. But Figure Collections in the clown game, and I have to imagine some wrestling fans will be buying these ICP ones, but give credit where credit's due. ICP is transfixed or transdanced the astral plane, whatever you want to call it, as they do have quite the fan base, as we know, that will probably eat up a lot of these figures. So as far as Figure Collection goes, it's about the money, it's about the business. They got their business hat on. Probably not a bad piece of business there. Have to expect maybe Halloween week we'll get some pictures. We'll see what happens soon. Latuni, Macho Man, Mega Powers once again, this time in their Giant series, their LJN style series. This one's tempting. It would go perfect with the Hulkster, the Mega Powers riding in Retros, Giant series. It could happen. It could happen. But another Macho Man, of course, from Latuni. And now we turn our attention to a very similar style. We're talking LJNs earlier. We talked Latuni. How about Big Rubber Guys? Mike Santana, 1 of 500. Now they keep putting the message out there that he's almost sold out. I don't know if that's a tactic, if it's a ploy, or it's the truth. But if you snooze, you lose. You know how it is. The order is the order. They're only making 500 of them. So if you're after that Santana, get after it. And speaking of other pre-orders, they end at the end of the month. Halloween's your last day. Hercules and Andre the Giant. Those are the pre-orders for the month of October. Better dive into those if you want to. Now, I'm going to have to take the major group for task a little bit here. I'm not a huge fan of the artwork and taking the pre-order off the artwork. Now, I want to believe these figures will be really good. We had a little bit of step back, very controversial. The Rick Martel, to me, was really disappointing in those glasses. Check out the reviews on the channel this week. But it makes people a little bit scared right now to pre-order based off a picture and not see the figures. Now, we've seen some images of the demolition from their new factory. They look amazing. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt here, but they got to come to the table with amazing figures of this Hercules and Andre, because I think this will hurt the company if they don't start showing us actual figures that we're pre-ordering. If we don't get that, people are going to bow out. They might play the long game. They might go to Big Bad Toy Store, things like that. So I understand what they're trying to do, but they got to be careful. You got to have the quality where it needs to be if you're going to show just the pictures. So we'll see where that goes in the future. But we know the future is now. Come this Monday, sometime around lunchtime, they're saying, and your mileage may vary on lunchtime. Danhausen repaint, Ric Flair repaint, in stock, Big Rubber Guys drops. I'm here for both of those. Monday, they will be up for sale. You snooze, you lose. Both limited edition figures. I can see some people saying, I don't need any more Ric Flairs, but I think the Danhausen will move pretty quick. So if you're after those, be ready on Monday, ready at your computer, ready to pick those ones up. And then we got Grapplers and Gimmicks this week. Mitch did a live stream. I didn't get to watch the live stream, unfortunately, but we did see some reveals. Regium figures. We've been wondering when are those coming. We know the Godwins are coming very soon, but we did see images of Raven. Cannot wait to see Raven. He's got it in hand. Looks really good. There's more work to be done, but it looks good. A lot of us been wanting a Raven to mix with our Elites possibly. This could end up being the one. So that one does look good. And we saw Tom Savini, of course, from Dusk Till Dawn and a million other things. Maniac Cop, maybe. Tom Savini figure, if you're after something like that. Very cool. I'm not sure how well that translates with the wrestling fandom, but there's always crossover, I'd imagine. But that'll be going up soon. We saw some card art for Sandman and Steve Mongo McMichael. We know that's another Regium and retro figure that's going to be in the works eventually. Balls Mahoney and Santa Claus and Hillbilly Jim. So Mitch, a ton of stuff, and all of his stuff from New York Comic Con is apparently available right now, shipping in November. Some expensive stuff, and it's expensive times, and it's a weird time frame we're all living in over the last year or so. I just bought a brand new Jeep, and in my brain, a Jeep should cost this, but it costs this. And I think we're a lot like a WWE Elite figure should cost this, but it costs this. We're feeling that pain all over, and it's a weird in-between time where our brain hasn't caught up to the new pricing. And we got to vote with our wallets into the day. We get bad quality with more expenses. Maybe we bow out on some stuff, but it's that weird kind of in-between time we're living in right now. So speaking of weird in-between times we're living in, it's time for the Power Town Update.
Are you ready for pain? Are you ready for suffering?
And no fooling, Todd McFarlane. We got a little bit of a Power Town update this week. Not the kind of update we want, but I did have a lot of people reach out to me this week. It started on Monday saying, hey, I looked in my shop app. Power Town is gone. They are gone from the shop app. I can't even find my order for Remcos, Ultras, TNA, one of those or all three of those, whatever it may be. So I immediately went into my shop app. I looked, and guess what? Found out the same thing, no longer in the shop app to be found. And I said, oh man, that's not good. Did they just disappear from shop? And how will you prove anything? And then I said, wait a minute, I got to go with my old emails. I always save my emails, and they were in my email box. I was like, okay, I still got the orders, the confirmation. I clicked, and by clicking through the email, it did get me to the shop app. But however, how many people out there, maybe you're one of them, sound off in the comments, deleted your emails from Powertown and are just counting on the shop app for all your fun and to track your orders? Well, it doesn't look like you'd be able to do that anymore. So I think it makes it just harder to get a refund. It's just a terrible situation as we talk week in, week out. And you know what the Saved by the Bell kids always say about it?
Dumb.
Stupid.
Crazy.
And as usual, they've never steered us wrong, these Saved by the Bell kids, and they're exactly right. Is something's got to give. Here we are knocking on the door in November. The back door, Todd McFarlane, always knocking on Todd's back door. But here we are in November, still no Remcos, no TNAs, no Ultra Series 2. Magnum said at one time we'd have everything by Thanksgiving. Well, if you believe that, I think we know where you can go. We take a long walk off a short pier is what they'll say, because if you're believing that, you're absolutely crazy. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. I really felt like we would have had something, at least the Remcos by now. I'm trying to be positive as I possibly can on this, but man, it's not looking good. I really don't think we'll see anything this year, and a big piece of me thinks we'll never see anything. I hope they're wrong, or I hope I'm wrong, whatever it may be, but it's not looking good for us Powertown fans. And let's be honest, is there any Powertown fans left? I don't know how they recover from this. I really don't. I get going to in-stock model. I just think they're going to order too much product, whatever that item ends up being. They're not going to be able to sell it. I think that's what's going to end up happening. It's just, you fool me once, fool me twice, fool me 10,000 times. And this is what happens. You reap the rewards of that. And I think Powertown's doing that, unfortunately. And like I said, I want to be their champion, but speaking of champions, I said, you know what? This Powertown thing's went on too long. It's time for me to get my lawyer involved.
Hi, I'm attorney at law Zach Wild, and I'm here to fight for you.
And I have a meeting with Zach Wild 2 weeks from now. So more to come on that. Hopefully we get some things settled, maybe get a class action going, and I'll let you guys know about that. But now, as Jerry Reed always says, more to talk about, not just wrestling this week. And how about we kick it off with a little Mondo I'm admiring from afar once again. Really admiring this one is X-Men Animated Series Storm Timed Edition. If you need one of the leaders of your X-Men team, you better get in on the Storm one. You got the limited window pre-order. Then after that, you'll be able to buy the non-deluxe edition if that is your thing. We saw from Hasbro this week, Tron, we're up to over 1,000, but barely on their Kickstarter. Like 30 days left on that one. Be interested to see where this one goes. I just don't see this hitting at all. But once again, never seen a Tron movie, know nothing of Tron. It just seems a little bit tone deaf by the Hasbro team to think that there's that kind of fandom around this, which makes you wonder about some of their other HasLabs. It's all you can do is like, what are they doing? Why are they doing this? And it makes you just question things a little bit. At least it does for me. But if you're after Tron, head to Hasbro Pulse. They need your help. Tron fans need your help. We also need help going to Cincinnati, Ohio. Beautiful this time of year. I'm sure it still smells of piss. Can somebody tell me if that's true or not? I'll never forget those skywalks as a little boy. I've told the story many a times, and there was guys, and my dad and I, we're going to the starting lineup conventions, and I remember just seeing a guy just whipping it out right there in the skywalk, just peeing on the carpet, just peeing, and I was like, wow, this is a wild place, this Cincinnati. And I'm not in Kansas anymore, and I never lived in Kansas, but I definitely wasn't in Kansas. Hopefully I get to see some of that next year as we do see the Motu Fest September 12th through 13th. That's about a week before Iron Maiden in concert on the 19th. I'll see you guys there, Maiden and Megadeth, sound off. But that's 12th, 13th, Motu Fest in Cincinnati. I'm penciling that one in because I'm planning on going to Rush in the summertime, but maybe I'll go to Motu Fest instead of San Diego Comic-Con. We'll see what happens there. But it looks like the year after that, spring 2027, PowerCon is back, and I believe that is going to be in Cincinnati as well. Maybe tour the Kroger building for old time's sake. Maybe we can do something like that. But PowerCon, a very fun adventure once upon a time, going to be back in 2027. So if you're after some of these things, pencil them in on your calendar. Let's get ahead of it. Could be some stuff to check out there. Now, Hasbro, some stuff to check out this weekend. They're over there in London showing off their wares. Obviously filming this before that, so we'll have to recircle around next week if any good reveals come from Marvel, G.I. Joe, and so forth. Very excited about some of that. NECA, a little bit quieter than I thought they'd be this week, but on Friday they did announce officially the NES version of Jason Voorhees. And if you like Jason Voorhees, it's going to be a huge week of Jason Voorhees unboxings on Kyle Peterson 2.0. Diving into some NECA unboxings of those. Been playing the long game on them. Finally time to get around to doing them for Halloween. So check out all the Jason, Michael Myers, and all points in between unboxings on Kyle Peterson 2.0. We're going to have some Terrifier unboxings. A lot of stuff to get us ready for Halloween here. About a week away as I'm filming this. How about that? But Jason is coming in the video game colors. I remember playing that game as a kid. Can't say I was a huge fan, but it is very nostalgic, and I definitely remember the artwork from the video game, seeing it at like Blockbuster and things like that when I was a kid. So always fun to see on those. And now we turn our attention over to Todd McFarlane as we finish up the toy news this week. Todd from the couch doing me extra dirty. I was on a meeting, on a phone call, conference call, and I missed the McFarlane Batmobile pre-order. Sold out everywhere. The Batman 66. I gotta have that in my collection. Let's get that done, huh? Can we find out a way to come to an agreement? Got to figure something out, but I got to track that down. I'm sure I'll be able to, but hopefully I'll be able to find that. Hopefully we get a Burt Ward to go with that. We need a Burt Ward for this. We'll see what happens, and I would not be shocked to see next year a black and white Batmobile too. I could see them doing that. We'll see what happens with Todd from the couch. We also saw this week a lot of leaked listings going on. I always say it's never official until Todd and his team says it, but big leak lists for next year, a lot of the stuff that's coming out. No Burt Ward that I saw there, but going to make a lot of people happy. Jack Nicholson Joker. Rumors it's inspired, not quite there, but inspired by it. I guess we'll see what that exactly means. But apparently that'll be coming at us in 2027 with a lot of other Todd McFarlane stuff and a lot of Todd McFarlane stuff in the weekly purchases tomorrow. So be on the lookout for that. But it should make some people happy about Jack Nicholson. But I can see the groans already. Todd McFarlane, I can see him on people's faces. I can hear them throughout the airways saying, that doesn't look like Jack Nicholson. Well, if they don't got the pure rights to him, it's not going to look like him. So we'll see where that goes. We'll stay tuned, see how that happens. And the last bit of McFarlane news this week, pretty quiet coming off the last couple of weeks. Harley Quinn Kickstarter, just a couple days to go on that one. Looks to be a pretty good set. I haven't put my money down yet. Maybe I will if I can get a Batmobile. Maybe. We'll talk about that later offline, maybe. But I would love to see the Harley Quinn Kickstarter hit through, and it looks like it's going to be very successful. I would go for that top tier, get as many figures as I can, and it feels like a fair price for it as well. So not a bad piece of business if you're into Harley Quinn and you need that in your collection. Jared Leto Joker as well along the way. But there it is. That's the toy news this week. Anything out there excite you? Anything I missed we should have talked about? Let me know in the comments down below. You made it this far. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, turn on the old notification bell. We got videos every single day and then some. We got even more content for you. Can you believe it? More content on Patreon and YouTube channel memberships. Sir Paul64 on the X, _Kyle_Peterson on Threads, Instagram, TikTok, and the Kyle Peterson Show at gmail.com. You can email me anything you want over there. And that is conveniently enough the name of the podcast, The Kyle Peterson Show, each and every Tuesday, wherever podcasts are found, with video cast on YouTube. And check out my book, perfect for the holiday season, Amazon, Barnes & Noble, The Complete Guide to the ECW Original San Francisco Toy Makers, and The Complete Guide to the Jakks Class Superstars series by yours truly, available right now. So there it is, another toy news. You know what I'm doing. I'm rocking and rolling, strutting and strolling my way to the Chicago Toy Show.
Well, are we gonna dance or are we gonna play?
for me.